Hey everyone, this is Bridget, and today we're going to be talking about how to set boundaries and create boundaries as an empath, or for us, highly sensitive people. I am one of those people. I've been an empath my whole life, so I wanted to give you my top tips of how to create these boundaries and sustain your own energy, as well as why it's been challenging in the first place, so we have a deeper understanding of how our energy works. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and please subscribe and hit the bell button so you get notified every time I come out with new videos, and let's get into it. So quickly, I wanted to say, what is an empath? What is a highly sensitive person? It is a person that feels everything, might hear everything, senses everything, to where it can be incredibly overwhelming, maybe in social situations or with certain people that have really strong presences or fields to maintain your own energy, to speak up for yourself, these kinds of things. And so it can be thus very challenging because you almost become or feel the other person so deeply to sustain your own energy. So why is it so hard? Why is it so challenging to set these boundaries time and time again? Two of my good reasons are that, one, we sense and we feel a lot of what other people are thinking and feeling. So thus, we know what they kind of want. We know what will displease them, maybe make them feel sad. We understand their expectations. And because we sense that so deeply, we don't want to displease them. It's challenging to say no and set our boundaries because we want love, we want connection ultimately as human beings. And so it makes it even more hard to then feel the sensation of what could happen if we did stand up for ourselves or stand in our own energy, how that could impact the other, which then we would feel. So that's one of the reasons that it's challenging. So one of the other challenges to setting the boundaries is because it is your gift. I know this might sound strange, but being an empath is actually an amazing spiritual gift. And one of the things that we're embedded with right now in this time in history, so that as we transition to fourth density or to a more awakened humanity, that we have the capacity, to actually have the energetic sensitivity to become telepathic, telempathic, to feel the other, to merge and become more connected, to merge into oneness. This is the energy that we're going towards. Now, right now, it doesn't seem helpful at all because people are, at different levels of energy and might be spilling their energy everywhere, or negative or dark and all these kinds of things. So it's like, I don't want to feel that. How do I work with that? So part of it is that we know that if we shut it off, we're shutting off our gift. So inherently, it's like, I know I'm supposed to set the boundary, but if I do set the boundary, I'm actually inhibiting my gift. So subconsciously, that's one of the reasons why it's a challenge too. So now, how do we set the boundaries? These are my top 3 tips going into it. First and foremost, the most important thing is to understand your own energy, your own innate essence and frequency. This might sound simple or foreign, but the idea is that if you are an empath, probably a lot of your life, you've taken on energy, maybe from your parents, your family, your society, your collective, and maybe your city, whatever is going on in your cultural or where you're living. And that energy then changes you. You're, again, this kind of morphine being. And so actually getting into your own energy is key, because you have to know what your energy is to then set a boundary with other people. So how do we begin to understand our own energy? Well, this is going into the boundaries a bit. We're gonna have to start saying no. Now, this is the thing, if it's that hard for us to set these boundaries, probably when we're in the presence of other people in specific situations, it's the hardest, right? Because their field comes at you and you're like, whoa, and you just kind of get washed over with their energy and you're in this glaze, and then you just don't know what to do, and all of a sudden you're doing this thing that you don't want to do. So some of the advice that I just gave a client was to actually say no, or say what you need, over text or email. Now, this might seem like, well, I should be able to do it in person. And ultimately, yes, that's what we're striving for. But in the beginning, actually not being in the physical presence of other people and being able to say no, or saying what we need, or expressing ourselves through those mediums can be a lot easier. Or even a video message that gets sent, something that you get to then instigate the energy. Because as An empath, what happens is we start over time to become defensive. We're like on the defense of life rather than putting out our field and our energy and declaring who we are. And during this first stage of setting boundaries, it's very important that we're going to have to stop caring what people think, because that incessant need to be wanted and loved has to go to the side just for a minute, and you and your self-love and your self-consideration has to be first. So I have a video on that. Go check that out, because that is also a very important part of this first step. Other ways to cultivate this energy is to get out of the energy fields of people that might, you feel dominant of, or in particular situations, maybe you're sensitive to Wi-Fi or to busy places or to big social things, to actually truly extract yourself from them. And again, this might feel a little bit counterintuitive because you know that you're supposed to be in there and working on it. But at first, you have to get yourself out of these situations of energy. Get yourself into nature, get yourself into a quiet space, say no to these things so that you can start to get to know yourself, start to get to know your own energy and frequency and what you need, how that resonates, how that feels. Get into your own feeling body. So you turn your empathic ability inward and you sense you feel and understand you. So that is the first place to begin to set the boundary, is to actually understand you. Now the second way is to actually cultivate and build your energy. And what this actually is building your etheric body, which is also your aura. So you're building your field of energy. And this has been, again, something that might have been on the defense or just merged with other energies. So actually doing this, instead of building walls where we just cut people off or, are kind of harsh, which again, not good for us as empaths because we're sensitive and compassionate, is to actually set a field, an energetic field of your own essence and energy. So then when you meet with another person that has an extremely dominant field, you have enough energy to stay in your own frequency, and you know what that is and what that looks like. Now, I've done this, I've tested this, I have been with some heavy hitter spiritual people that have incredibly potent fields that could be manipulative or just powerful in their own divine presence. And I've gotten washed out in those. I'm like, God, I just kind of get washed away. But I continue to show up to test myself on how much I've developed my ability to stay grounded and solid in this energy cultivation. So I have a whole video on how to cultivate and develop and build your etheric body, your aura, your energy field. So I recommend going and watching that for the full development of this particular tip around boundaries. And also in this space, one of the things that's very important, again, is to go back to the idea that this is a gift. And so when we realize this and realize that this is part of our extrasensory perception arsenal of tools, of magical tools, of perceptions, then we can acknowledge it, right? Because it's been so challenging, we want to push it away and we're mad about it and we're kind of disassociated or frustrated with this situation. Whereas actually, if we bring it into us and say, teach me, and how can I utilize this and expand with this, then it will start to take on its own life so it can show you how it wants to be utilized. Now, step 3 is to actually go into this, is to make it a practice, okay? Because we're developing this extrasensory perception, the spiritual perception. And so this means that we need to practice. We were given the innate download and the innate ability to do it. Now, how do we do it? We need to harness it and get in there. So one of the ways that I did this, which was, it's intense and it's not fun sometimes, but once you get better at it, then it feels so good, because then you can return to your own energy and set your own boundaries. So one of the ways that I've done it is through constellation work. It's this spiritual modality called family constellation work. And I talk about it a lot in association with ancestry, because that's a lot of what it goes into. I have some videos on that you can check out. But the idea is that in this spiritual modality, you actually represent the energy of other people in a given situation to bring healing and clarity and understanding to whatever that dynamic is. And so you actually, it's not the idea of like possession, but you embody the energy of this other person or this other part of their energy body so that they can get more understanding around it. This is the ultimate fear factor for empaths, because that overwhelm is just the worst, right? You're like, you're gone, like, where are you? And so you want to get back to that point. And it did not end up well in the beginning for me doing this work. But the question is then why did I want to keep going into it? And because one of the reasons is I know that one of the things that I'm supposed to do is serve others and serve other people and use actually my spiritual capacities to do this, to use my compassion, to use my empathy, to use my healing gifts and extrasensory perceptions. So I will never be able to do that if I just hide away from it and set boundaries. I'm going to need to learn how to merge and how to truly get in there with someone, to feel them, to sense them, and then be able to assess and heal and do the work with them, and then get out of it. So the thing is if we just set up boundaries and then we just walk away, then we're not actually utilizing the gifts that we came here to develop. So in this, I knew that I had to do this. And so in this constellation work, it was the worst case scenario, and I did it for years afterwards. I mean, I actually was doing this 1 to 2 times a week for about 2 years and then different times after. So I actually made this a development practice for myself. And at the very beginning, it didn't end up very good because there was a schizophrenic which never ended up coming back into the circle, and I was representing part of her, and I was actually like next to her as a physical person in the circle. And by the end, I had taken on kind of like this entity and this other energy of her. It was horrible. And I had to work with the healer afterwards to kind of like get it out of me and get it back to my own energy. And I was scared, and I was scared away from this whole concept of this particular work for at least a few months. I was like, that is the worst. But then I realized and I went, wow, this could actually be the thing that I need the most. And the thing is it's in a safe environment, right? It's in a healing environment so that it's in a closed loop, so that it's not just this spontaneous thing where your ex-boyfriend or your boss comes up to you and you're overwhelmed in this, kind of instantaneous, spontaneous scenario. It's a safe space where you're like, okay, for 2 hours, I'm just going to go work on this, and I'm going to be of service and utilize my gift and merge with energy and then separate from energy. And slowly but surely, I got really good at it. And it's been a lifesaver for me to be able to act and be of service in the other ways that I do, because part of my purpose is to engage and interact with people in person. So I had to develop that. So however you go about developing this and actually putting yourself into safe, merging energetic situations to then be able to separate yourself back out and return to your own energy is really key to be able to develop this gift, as well as set your own boundaries by understanding your own energy and go from the other to yourself, the other to yourself, to where that can be an instantaneous movement. And then when you know that you can separate from the other, then it doesn't become scary or overwhelming, or you again retracting in from the situation, from the person, but that you can actually step into life and step into yourself and step into relation with the other, which is what the gift is for. So that is a little synopsis of how I've built my own boundaries. And it's a different kind of way of looking at it, maybe than other people have, but I have to tell you, it really does work. It works, and it actually makes you feel really empowered in who you are, rather than it feeling like a disability or a weakness to who you are. It's something that you can cherish and develop for yourself. So I hope that this has been really helpful for you. If you have any questions or relate to this in any way, please comment below, because I'm sure there's many others that would like to hear from you and to know that you're not alone, because so many people are sensitive and empathic. That's so important to understand and realize. So if you like videos like this, please like, subscribe, hit the bell button so you get notifications every time I come out with new videos every Tuesday and Thursday, and connect with me for daily updates on Instagram as well. And I'll see you soon with another video.